Hi guys, welcome to Wrestling Retrospective, and in this video I will be doing my review of Night of Champions 2023. So in the opening match we found the brand new World Heavyweight Champion, which is Seth Rollins. He defeated AJ Styles in a match that I thought would get Match of the Night, and it was good, it was quality, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't quite Match of the Night for me. My Match of the Night is quite surprising this time around, but I think it's not as predictable as usual. But yeah, these two are really good. Probably two of my favourite male superstars in WWE at the minute. And yeah, I thought the first parts of the match, Rollins kind of had an answer for everything AJ Styles did, and he kind of took control of the match a lot. And then as it went on, it kind of became more even. I think for me, I don't know what it is about it, but the crowd took away from this. The Saudi Arabia crowd doesn't really get as loud or as involved as the UK crowd, some American crowds, like whether in Philadelphia or whether in Canada or even when they're in Puerto Rico, for example. They're just not that loud, and it kind of took away from this match in my opinion. I feel like if there was more fanfare towards it, especially when the 3 count was made, it would have made this moment feel a lot bigger. But it didn't, and it wasn't annoying, it was just disappointing. Like, Seth Rollins has deserved to be world champion for a long time, and it just felt like it needed more of a fanfare. And unfortunately, it didn't get that here in Saudi Arabia. But I put that down to the fans, of the Saudi Arabia fans, rather than Rollins not deserving it. But yeah, I thought that it was really. It was really even for the most part. I said these two were both quality. I was expecting probably like a better match than we got. I don't know if I set my standards too high, but then I don't feel like you can put your standards too high with Rollins and AJ. I thought that having Rollins' knee buckle after the suicide dive was a good part of the story of the match, and then for him to go straight into a calf crusher, which I don't know. I feel like the calf crusher is like one of the worst in a way of like how it feels, but best like submission moves in WWE, because everyone seems to sell it like really well as if it does a lot of damage. I mean, even Brock Lesnar did it at Survivor Series. He kept limping around after it. I'd probably say it's one of the most effective submissions, and that's what I do like about it. But with Rollins' knee buckling, I did worry that we were going to have a Finn Balor Universal title situation on our hands. But it turns out I was just being worked, because I'm a mark, apparently. But yeah, again, again going back to the crowd, with the 3 count taking place, I was expecting a massive ovation, and it just wasn't the case, which is disappointing. I feel like if they had done this maybe at Money in the Bank or at SummerSlam, it would have been a lot better. I know the fans would have been a lot more loud for those events, but then at the same time we then don't have a world champion on TV till SummerSlam or Money in the Bank, which isn't great. But I am looking forward to seeing Seth Rollins' run as world champion. I'm hoping it'll be a decent long run, not like a massive reign, but a decent amount with some good matches between, hopefully on Raw and on pay-per-view. And for AJ Styles, I'd probably have him go for the WWE Universal titles next, maybe at Money in the Bank, or have him in Money in the Bank. I think that'd be really cool. Like, he fits Money in the Bank quite well. And then at SummerSlam, yeah, having go and face Roman, I think that'll be a really good match. They had a really good match back at Extreme Rules 2018, 2017. I don't know, either way. They had a really good match at Extreme Rules that I remember. It's probably one of my favourite Roman Reigns matches. So yeah, looking forward to see where AJ Styles goes, and genuinely fully deserving championship win for Seth Rollins here, and I can't wait to see what happens next with him. Following that, we had Trish Stratus defeat Becky Lynch. For me, what I enjoyed about this match is the fact that there was very few kind of wrestling moves, especially at the start of the match. They went straight into a brawl with Becky attacking Trish and then Trish reversing it on the outside. I'm glad it didn't start with like lock up and stuff like that. The feud didn't fit that, and that was really good. I was worried the fact that they were going to keep going for wrestling moves, because these two are probably two of the best women's wrestlers in WWE history. But yeah, they went straight with a brawl, which I very much enjoyed. Yeah, watching it back the first time, watching it back, I realised that this match was a lot better than I thought it was watching it in the moment. So I'm glad I went back and watched it, and yeah, it was just really good. Great back and forth. The story that they told was really good. I forget how good Trish is in the ring. I can't remember now what her match with Charlotte was like back in 2019. But the tag team matches that she had didn't really show her off properly, and this match for me showed, just like Lita did when she faced Becky in Saudi Arabia, just how good how much the legends, the women's wrestlers are. In fact, they can keep up with the current day wrestlers, even though it was completely different when they were in their prime, which is really good. I'm very, very happy with that. And yeah, I think one thing I did think throughout was when Becky reversed the top rope Hurricane Rana of Trish into a Boston Crab / Walls of Jericho, however you want to see it. She's really bad at that. Like, she was practically stood up the whole time. It didn't look like there was actually any pressure on Trish's legs. So she needs to like sit down more. I know I'm not a pro wrestler. I'm just some fat guy in his living room, but it just didn't look effective at all, really. But yeah, having Zoe Stark come out and help Trish, I think, is a really good idea. I like the story. I like the fact that Stark is going to be the protege of Trish Stratus. I feel like that's going to help Trish with the storyline with Becky going on. It's going to help the storyline between Becky and Trish's feud. I feel like if Lynch and Stark both qualify for Money in the Bank next week, it's going to help. That feud is going to be interpreted into that match. And then, yeah, it's going to do wonders for Zoe Stark's career, with the fact that she's had Trish by her side, and maybe even get a win over Trish on Trish's way out of this run, which I think will be huge for Zoe Stark. It seems like WWE have an investment in Zoe Stark, which I can fully understand. I didn't really think much of it in NXT, but since she's come up to the main roster, she's actually been really good, and I've actually been quite liking her a bit, so I'm happy with that. And yeah, the match itself was quality. Genuinely really enjoyed it, more than I thought I was going to. And Trish Stratus got the win. Following that, we had Gunther successfully retain the Intercontinental Championship against Mustafa Ali. For me, I haven't got much to say about this one. It kind of went exactly how I thought it would do, with Gunther having control of the match for the most part, Mustafa Ali building up and getting some good offense in, kind of having that moment of hope where he gets a really close 2 count on Gunther, and then Gunther takes over the match again and gets the win. Yeah, I think it went exactly how I thought it went, so I've not really got much to say about it. Gunther is clearly one of the most dominant Intercontinental champions of all time, and I kind of hope that, though I want to see him have bigger matches at SummerSlam, for example, I think once he holds it past the pay-per-view after SummerSlam, he'll be like the longest reigning in history. But I kind of want him to get, I know I'm one of the people that don't always want really long reigns, but Gunther is fully deserving of having that title of longest reigning Intercontinental Champion. And then once he drops it, he can go into the lower main event card into the main event. I'd love to see him have a match with Roman. I'd love to see him have a match with Rollins. I feel like these would be really good matches. I know that him and Rollins have faced before on Raw, but put it on a pay-per-view, and I feel like they would steal the show most likely. And for Mustafa Ali, I would have normally said that I wouldn't know what's next for him, and I would have said that if I made a video yesterday. I'll be honest, I didn't make it yesterday because I didn't get any sleep on Monday night and I was super tired and I don't want to half-arse a video. But since then, Mustafa Ali has actually turned up in NXT, which I feel like is a good choice for him. I feel like it's a good way of getting him on TV and not helping him improve, but just having him on telly, having him do something rather than just sitting catering. It seems like he's going to be in the North American title picture, which is really good. And, it gives him something to do, and there's no place for him on SmackDown. Why not just put him down in NXT? But yeah, I think next challengers for Gunther, I think Riddle. It seems like he's going to be the next challenger. If not Riddle, I'd maybe have... I don't know, actually. Riddle seems like the main... He's the one I thought was going to win the Battle Royal that Mustafa Ali did. Maybe Bronson Reed goes after it as well. I feel like Bronson and Gunther would be like a massively hard-hitting match. So yeah, I'd say either way, looking forward to see what Gunther does next. He successfully retains here at the pay-per-view. After that, we had Asuka defeat Bianca Belair to become the new Raw Women's Champion. This match was really good. I'm so happy they had a better match than they did at WrestleMania. That match was incredibly one-sided that I was quite worried going into this one. But no, it was evenly contested throughout. You could tell these two do actually have really good chemistry. I questioned it at WrestleMania, but you can tell they actually do. And yeah, just the smarts of Asuka in this one, I think that's what it was all about. I feel like she took control over Bianca Belair way more than Belair did over Asuka. And yeah, it was just like, I said, I was really worried going in, but it blew me out of the park for this one. It was one of the matches that genuinely impressed me. Not my match of the night, but close, just like the Rollins and AJ match and the Becky and Trish match. But yeah, it was said quality. I thought having Asuka put the mist on her hand because she figured out that like Bianca Belair had also figured out how to overcome the mist and kind of avoid it. Therefore, she had to think of a different way, which is clever. And it's a different way to use the mist. And it's, I think they said that Great Muta did it once. I haven't seen it personally, but I believe the fact that that's the case. To have Asuka put it onto her hands and like put it into her eyes during the KOD when the referee weren't looking was really clever to get the win here. And then yeah, just to have just a kick in the back of the head. You know, like realistically, if someone kicked me really hard in the back of the head, I'd probably be out for a 3 count. So I think that's a really realistic finish, though it's not like a finisher. I think it matters all the time. It doesn't always need to be a finisher to end the match. And yeah, I was surprised he had a title change in Saudi Arabia. Like, I always just assume that Saudi Arabia fans don't like women, which I'm sure isn't the case, but just because of how they started out having no women on the card at all, it made me think that it just, my default thought of it is they don't like women. So having a women's title change is really good. Having 3 women's matches on the card is amazing. I'm glad that we've taken that progress in Saudi Arabia. But yeah, I think that's the correct result, though. I feel like Bianca Belair's character has gotten pretty stale, and I know I'm sick of it. You know, if you go back and watch old NXT, she's got the same theme, same entrance, doing the hair swinging. It's just like, it needs freshening up a bit at least, maybe a heel turn. Maybe just get rid of the braid, have her come out without the braid, and it'd be like a complete change in attitude. But either way, I've got a feeling that she might win Money in the Bank because she's so over and because fans seem to enjoy this gimmick so much. Which I hope isn't the case. I'm hoping that Becky Lynch is going to win Money in the Bank this year, but it seems like they want Bianca to have all the accomplishments, and it's only Money in the Bank and the women's tag titles that Bianca Belair has not won yet. So I do feel like I don't want her to win it, but I feel like they might go that way. But yeah, for me, I think Asuka's going to make a great champion. Hopefully she puts on great matches like this one with everybody else she faces. I can't think of anyone at this time who might face her at Money in the Bank, so I feel like most of the top women on Raw are probably going to go into Money in the Bank. I don't know whether she might just not defend it at Money in the Bank, but either way, looking forward to a title defense as Asuka is the new Raw Women's Champion. Next up, we had Rhea Ripley with Dominic Mysterio in her corner successfully defend the SmackDown Women's Championship against Natalya. Look, don't judge me here. I love the Judgment Day and I love Rhea, and I feel like I'm going to get slated for being biased. This was my match of the night, right? I want my match of the night to be kind of the match I enjoyed the most out of the whole pay-per-view. And, you know, it's not always the traditional picks and everything like that, but I enjoyed this so much. I am so bored of Natalya. Since her match with Ronda Rousey at Money in the Bank last year, I have not enjoyed. I hate Natalya. I don't hate, that's a bit strong. I dislike her, and she didn't at all deserve this title match. I feel like it was just a way to get Rhea's numbers up and just to put this match on the pay-per-view. But to have Rhea squash her like that was fantastic, and have Dom distract her and be involved as well was fantastic. And all the Dom's reaction jumping on Rhea for the hug was brilliant. And yeah, I just overall really enjoyed it. I popped massively when it happened. And yeah, as I said, I loved it. It was the right decision. It makes Rhea look dominant. Dominant. See what I did there, Dominic. Yeah, I'm a comedy genius, really. But yeah, it was. You guys can call me biased. I don't mind. I love this. It was the correct decision. I think more matches like this for Rhea Ripley, not all the time so they get boring, but just when, you know, when we feel like her opponent isn't gonna give any kind of threat to her, having her win in this kind of way would really help her reign and feel like it would legitimize it even more. But yeah, I loved it. I enjoyed it so much, and yeah, for me, it was my match of the night. Please don't judge me too much. And yeah, I just Rhea Ripley is still your SmackDown Women's Champion. Following that, we had Brock Lesnar defeat Cody Rhodes via pass out or TKO or however you want to put it. Anyway, Cody Rhodes passed out in the Kimura lock. For me, this was the worst match of the night. I didn't enjoy this at all. Having this kind of, if Cody actually has a broken arm, then he doesn't wrestle here. But because he doesn't really have a broken arm, and the amount of time he spent in the Kimura lock, I think he spent like 3 minutes in the Kimura lock. If you had a legit broken arm, you would have tapped out immediately. And I know that they want to make, the will and the heart of the American Nightmare, which is funny because I'm pretty sure. It's unrealistic. It wouldn't happen. I get that, like, they want to show he's, big and strong and, nothing can defeat Cody Rhodes. But it just doesn't work here because his arm's broken. Like, if they want us to believe it's broken, he'd have tapped out as soon as he was in the Kimura lock to save his own arm. They said he didn't, and then he was on Raw this week threatening him again, and it was just like, okay, like, I don't want this again unless it's going to be unsanctioned. Because that's the way it fits. No, this could go one of 3 ways for me. We go unsanctioned, we go Hell in a Cell, or we go Fight Pit. But either way, there's no rules, no messing about, and if Cody's arm is still injured, it doesn't matter because there's no rules, and Cody can use weapons to kind of even it up with Brock. But having him go into this match be a normal match with a fucked arm, you knew Brock was going to win, and there was moments where, like, when I think Cody hit 2 crossroads and went for the pin, and I was like, if he wins here, I've had enough of Cody. Because it isn't realistic. And yeah, I don't know, it just part of me feels like it wouldn't look weak if Cody had just tapped out. Like, why did they have to have him pass out in the Kimura? Just have him tap. He's not going to do anything to him. They don't concentrate on win-loss records in WWE. Therefore, it doesn't affect Cody, it doesn't make him look weak, it's not an issue. But yeah, I don't know. I just really disappointed with this one. It generally just annoys me when they make it seem so unrealistic. It's why I didn't like the Sami Zayn and Kevin versus Usos match at WrestleMania. And yeah, this was even worse. Yeah, really disappointed with this one. Probably shouldn't even have done this match. We'll have to see what happens next, whether they have a match at SummerSlam or Money in the Bank. But yeah, didn't like this one. And finally, in the main event, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens defeated Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns to successfully defend the Undisputed Tag Team Championships. I'm glad I went back and rewatched this one. In the moment, obviously, I got all caught up in the bloodline dissension type stuff, which made me forget how I felt about the match overall. And yeah, I watched it back and the bloodline controlled for the most part. I think it was about 75% bloodline, 25% Sami and Kev. Which isn't great for the tag champions. I would have expected it to be more kind of 55-45, kind of them putting up a good fight, especially as they both faced Roman individually and they both faced Solo individually. You expect them to know kind of how to get around him a lot better. But that wasn't the case. But this match was all about kind of the second half of the match. This was all building up to when the referee took a bump. My brother pointed out that it's always the same referee when it's the bloodline stuff, especially when something's going to happen when they need the referee to bump. And it just makes me laugh because, especially the referees, because I always say to my friends and to my brother that the referees are made out of paper mache because, oh man, when they get pushed, it's like they've been punched in the face. This referee took a spear. Like, for a referee, that's like being in a car crash. We didn't see that referee again until I think the end, or they got a new referee, and I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, but as soon as that referee went down, everybody knew exactly what was going to happen. The Usos came out to get involved, and then they both super kicked Solo, and it was like, ooh, what's going to happen? And Roman saw it, but he saw it out of context because he didn't see Sami move. He only saw Solo get kicked, and it all kicked off. It was fantastic because you had Roman in shoving Jimmy away. He was getting in the face of Jay, and then finally, after all these months, Jimmy Uso kicks Roman in the face. Oh, it was brilliant. I popped massive for this. I stood up on my chair, I was celebrating. It was huge. And then to do it again, he did it twice. It was like, holy shit. And he said that, and Jimmy saying to Jay that, oh, this is what you should have done months ago, was so right. This should have happened back at the Rumble. Like, this should happen 4 or 5 months ago. But yeah, after that, it was brilliant. I think this is where everyone's kind of vision of the match gets blurred, because everyone concentrates on the absolute drama that was going on in the ring. But it did excel the match. You know, it took it from decent to, well, it was kind of like, for me, it was a decent match, but top class storytelling. And that's why it didn't get my match of the night. I was thinking it was going to, and then I rewatched it, and I was like, well, actually, it was a decent match, but the storyline kind of takes hold, and it kind of blurred the mindset of how the match was. But yeah, it's a fantastic way to do it. The only thing I would have changed about it was I would have had Roman take the pin, just to make it worse. Like, imagine that on the 1000th day as Universal Champion, the Usos have made Roman Reigns get pinned. This is his first pin since December 2019, I think. And just have that dissension go down on SmackDown, and it'd just be fantastic throughout. I think it's the only thing I would have changed, but it wasn't a massive detail in it for me. And yeah, I think I'm really looking forward to SmackDown on Friday to see what happens next, because it's probably one of the best storylines in wrestling, probably since Adam Page and Kenny Omega last year, but before that, in a long time in WWE. You know, it's been a while since WWE had this kind of storyline where it's been going on for this long, and it's been so good. I can't wait to see what's next. So those are my thoughts and opinions on Night of Champions 2023, as you can see in the corner there. I got, I think, 5 out of 7 overall, which is pretty good. It puts me on 26 out of 37 for the year so far, which is pretty good, I think. Yeah, I'm maybe egotistical, but I feel like that's a pretty good score. You know, only what, 11 off overall. That's pretty fucking good. But yeah, as in the comments, put what your favourite match was, put your opinion of the show, give me some feedback, anything you'd like to see on the channel. I'm thinking about doing a tier list video for Money in the Bank, and going through all of them that have happened so far and seeing where I would rank them. Just as something different on the channel to keep content up, and instead of uploading once or twice, or in this case 4 times a month. I know that the next pay-per-view I'll be reviewing will be Forbidden Door, but for WWE we've got to wait like well, pretty much just around about a month for Money in the Bank, so I thought I'd try and do some content about that. So do look out for that on the channel within the next month. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys later on.